Hi, everybody. This is Jean, and we have a very fun show this month. Um, there's a group here in Sisters of a collection of fiber artists, and they just do a lot of different kinds of things. And so I asked them if they might want to show their work this month. So I have a lot to share with you. We're going to kind of head down to the end here, and then as we go along, I'll let you know, techniques they've done. Very few of the pieces are for sale, but if they are, I will let you know. This piece in the corner here was done by Marion Shimoda, and it's called Log Cabin Variation. And I would say that she was very successful with her variations. Um, you wouldn't necessarily think it was a log cabin because when you look at some of the centers, the same color of fabric has been used on all four sides. So it creates more of a pictorial um, imagery. And I think her use of color is really nice. The gold color and the little bit of red certainly make it more interesting. The other colors are very classic together, but you know the gold and the red really add something. And this next piece is by Toni Phillips, and I know lots of you know Toni because she is kind of the queen of wool stitching, and whimsical, I would say, is the style that she likes to use a lot. And what I thought was interesting about this piece is how she's used kind of her scrappy pieces and just stitched them together at the top and the bottom of the panels. Um, and because of the change of scale, it really adds a nice dimension to the leaf panels. And of course, she always is really good with color. And I think the black and white certainly are used successfully in that piece. And these next pieces are all by Kit Stafford, and these are Kawandi pieces, um, which is a technique that uh, Sujata Shah teaches at Quilters Affair. She's from India, where you start the piecing from the inside out, and it's kind of a collage piecing technique. And then she's used kantha stitching, which is the big stitching that you see these days on a lot of pieces, and it originated in North Africa. Each of the pieces are 250. The top one on the left is called Habit of Wonder, and then the next one over is Now and Again. Then when you come down, first uh, take a breath. And the next one, She Flies with the Stars. And Kit is so clever with her titles. I mean, I almost started laughing when I was reading them to you. Again, she works out of a scrap bag. She's not one that goes purchasing a lot of fabrics. She collects things. She does a lot of resale stores. And I just think she has a real knack for putting things together. And the color, I think, seems to hold them together as a composition. So the next piece is by Marion Shimoda. And the patterned pink pieces were all created in a deconstructive printing class. And this is the first time she had ever tried the technique. So she was, I think, very proud of herself for being able to then put it into a composition. One of the things that I like and I feel is really successful is the use of warmer greens and cooler greens all in one piece. You know, the warmer greens like the yellow greens, and then this more minty type greens. And it just all seems to work really nicely. And she's kind of the queen of log cabin, I would say. And we have another one of her pieces called Joy. And this one was done with a group of women. Um, oh no, it's done with Kathy Jasper and Flo Hustler, and it was a round robin where she probably made the very first block in the center and passed it to one of the other two women, and they added a row, and then it got passed to somebody else. They added a row. So each time is round robin, you add something that goes around the whole thing. Then this would be another row, and then this is a row. This probably went with this one. And then this row, I'll bet you anything that Marion did that one, but I don't know for sure, so we can't quote me on that. Again, I think it's a very playful use of color, which is fun, and I think the black makes it very dramatic, really showcases, what's happening. Best Dog Ever was created by Jen Staines. She took a class from June Yeager on creating a collage pet. And what I love about it is she had collected fabrics, and she had some fabrics that looked just like Archie. And instead of doing just one fabric behind the dog, the piecing, I think, really worked out nicely. And it's a very eclectic use, again, of pattern and texture and color. And that's one of the things that Jen is really good at. Now we have a vest that was created by Belinda Batchelder, and she teaches eco dyeing, and the main colors in this came from marigolds. And I've done a couple eco dyeing class, and marigolds just give you the very best patterning and also that gold color. And I think she's going to be doing some eco printing for the Stitchin Post next year, which will be very fun. Now, at the top, Jen Staines calls this Rocks, Pebbles, and Stones, and she took my class by that name. And most people were doing very organic colors of what you actually see stones being. And this was typical of Jen to work with this style of fabric. And I think her little compositions within each of the stones has created a lot of interest. And the way she's used the blue with that funky green color, obviously I really like that too, because this is my piece right below it that you see. The composition came from a manhole cover that I took a photograph of in San Jose when I was there for a convention. And then that winter, I wanted to do some sort of stitching piece. And I'd gone on a walk with a friend to Tumalo State Park. And when I pulled up to park my car, there was a fence rail, and all of the bark had come off of the wood. And here was all this wormwood pattern. So I took pictures of all that patterning. And that's where I got all of this kind of thing that you see going on in these different places. And then I did, here's another little piece. So the wormwood was really an inspiration for that piece. And I had so much fun doing that. This next one is Magnolia Logwood. And Linda White lives here in Sisters, and she took some eco dyeing workshops through Pine Meadow Ranch. The Roundhouse Foundation was doing classes this summer, and she did quite a nice write-up here about the different plants that she used to create this. And Linda is one of those people that's real magical with stitch and with color. And when you look at this, she's used a, red thread here, and using the red thread makes it really pop. And then these blue threads, it's not the exact kind of lavendery blue, it's more of a true blue, and then more of a lighter yellow. But there's so much to see in this piece, and the little story is wonderful to read. And hopefully, those of you who live locally are going to have a chance to come and look up close because there's some magical stitching that has happened in these pieces. And these three are from Leotie Richards, who is just a master with design and working with wool. And she likes to use embellishment. You see some beautiful pearl buttons. Um, and this was her Ocean series. And I think it's very clever what she's done for the background, um, doing this stitching back here. I think that really added to what was happening inside. Um, but I always get excited to see what Leotie is working on because she's always got something wonderful that she's stitching. This next piece was also done by Marion Shimoda. And those of you who know her know that she's from Hawaii. She was born in the States, but her, her father's family, most of them, well, I think her mother's too, were from Hawaii. And so this was a photograph that she took once when the family was having a reunion at the beach. And what's so symbolic is just that one little umbrella, you know, on a deserted beach. I'm sure the family was back where I am right now, just enjoying the beach from a distance. So, and this next piece was done by Jen Staines, and it's called Patterned Village. And she did this several years ago. It's a collage piece, a collage, and then piecing also. And I love all of these little houses. And it reminds me of what Sisters feels like with all of the little houses. And then you see the great big mountains and, you know, a beautiful summer sky. And she's used a lot of different fabrics. And there's a lot to see in this piece when you get up a little closer. Oh, this next piece was started in a workshop I was giving called Adventures in Art Quilting, and it was done by Cheryl Rudolph. And this piece has been happening for about 3 years. When she first started, she was making one large log cabin, and she just started creating little components. And she had a whole bunch in the center and was just doing borders around the edge. Then she took the whole thing apart and positioned it into this composition, which she calls Metolias. And what I find so interesting is that it feels very vertical in the piecing, but yet the shape of the piece is horizontal. And because of the tall, tall ponderosa pines, you know, you would normally think you would make the shape of the piece more of a vertical, but I feel it's really, really successful in capturing the essence of what the Metolias is. And we happen to have a little family cabin out there. And so this really touched my heart when I saw it all finished. And I was really proud of her for getting it done. So, well, this is all we have, but I hope you get a chance to come by and see it. And for those of you who don't live in the area, at least you got to see a video. So thank you.